you sometimes feel overwhelmed and confused? I know when I feel like that, it's time to slow down, take a break from what I'm doing, and then pray. Sometimes I go straight to praying and thanking God for my many blessings. Even when I suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, I was thankful for being able to experience my emotions, because as a survivor of childhood sexual violence, I buried them so far inside me, it took years for me to find them. Before the Exodus, the Jewish people were lost and confused like sheep without a shepherd. So God chose Moses to lead them out of slavery from Egypt and into communion with him through Moses and the Ten Commandments. In today's reading, we're reminded that for 430 years, the Jewish people were enslaved, yet held fast to their faith. That's amazing. Now listen to the end of today's reading. The time the children of Israel had stayed in Egypt was 430 years. At the end of 430 years, all the hosts of the Lord left the land of Egypt on this very date. This was a night of vigil for the Lord as he led them out of the land of Egypt. So on this same night, all the children of Israel must keep a vigil for the Lord throughout your generations. There's no doubt the Passover of the Old Testament was monumental in the life of the Jewish people. Now remember how we are blessed to have Jesus as our Passover through God's new covenant, the body and blood of Christ, as you listen to today's song. Give thanks to the Lord, for he is good, for his mercy endures forever, who remembered us in our objection, for his mercy endures forever, and freed us from our foes, for his mercy endures forever. His mercy endures forever. In Jesus, we have the Son of God personally shepherding us. We forget this is such a blessing, privilege. When I spend more time with Jesus, I always wonder why I haven't done so sooner. His overwhelming passion and compassion touches and melts my heart. For all of us, it's a bromance or romance waiting to happen. Unfortunately, the Pharisees and other temple officials were so alienated from God they couldn't recognize that Jesus the Messiah was right in front of them. Now listen to today's gospel. The Pharisees went out and took counsel against Jesus to put him to death. When Jesus realized this, he withdrew from that place. Many people followed him, and he cured them all. But he warned them not to make him known. This was to fulfill what had been spoken through Isaiah the prophet. Behold, my servant whom I have chosen, my beloved, in whom I delight. I shall place my spirit upon him, and he will proclaim justice to Gentiles. He will not contend or cry out, nor will anyone hear his voice in the streets. A bruised reed he will not break, a smoldering wick he will not quench, until he brings justice to victory. And in his name the Gentiles will. In Proverbs 8:13, I found the fear of the Lord is actually a fear of falling out of love with God, of letting your relationship with him fade away and becoming alienated from him. Like I've said before, as children of God, we're called to an intimate love relationship with God, delights which will blow your mind more than any drug possibly could. When you start making it a habit of listening, really listening to God, and carefully discerning it's his voice, you will enter what I call the God zone. Professional athletes describe that playing a perfect game is like being in a zone. The zone they're in is in the present moment. They're so in sync with whatever they're doing, as long as they stay in the present moment, they can do no wrong. The God zone is more than just being in the present moment. It's being so connected, so intimate with God, that you're in sync with him just as much as you are with the present moment. You're not analyzing it, you're not thinking about it, and when someone challenges you, it means nothing. You are one with the Creator. You don't even realize that he's bringing out your natural gifts and co-creating an empowered life for you. Once your transformation happens, rock-solid faith helps you develop an even deeper relationship with God, which will inspire others to turn to him and help transform their lives. God bless you, and be sure to take care of God's precious gift,